Have you ever noticed that some people never ask for reassurance? They don't ask, "Are you mad at me? Do you still care? Did I do something wrong?" They don't double text. They don't panic when messages go unanswered. They don't beg for clarity. When someone pulls away, they don't chase. They go quiet. From the outside, they look confident, independent, emotionally mature, self-sufficient. People describe them as strong, grounded, not needy. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one says out loud. Most people who don't need reassurance aren't secure. They're prepared. Prepared for distance, prepared for disappointment, prepared for being left. Because needing reassurance once and not receiving it taught them a lesson their nervous system never forgot. And once your mind learns that comfort is inconsistent, it stops asking. Number 1, reassurance is a nervous system skill. Psychologically speaking, reassurance isn't a personality trait. It's a learned regulation pattern. When a child experiences consistent emotional attunement, being noticed, soothed, responded to, their nervous system learns, "I am safe. My feelings matter. Someone will come when I reach." That becomes an internal belief. I can rely on others. But when reassurance is inconsistent, or conditional, or absent, the nervous system adapts. Not consciously, not logically, biologically. The body learns asking doesn't guarantee comfort. Needing may lead to rejection. Dependence is risky. So the brain chooses the safer option. It says, "I'll stop reaching. I'll stop asking. I'll handle this myself." Not because the person is strong, but because the system decided self-containment is safer than hope. Number 2, the first time reassurance failed. There is almost always a moment, a quiet one. Maybe you don't remember it clearly, but your body does. The first time you needed reassurance and didn't receive it. You reached out emotionally and were ignored, minimized, dismissed, or met with irritation. You learned, don't make a big deal. You're overreacting. You should be able to handle this. So you did. But something subtle changed. You didn't stop feeling, you stopped showing. You didn't stop needing reassurance, you stopped expecting it. And expectancy is where vulnerability lives. Number 3, why silence doesn't terrify you. For many people, silence is unbearable. It triggers panic. Are they upset? Did I mess up? Am I about to be abandoned? But for you, silence feels familiar. Because you learned how to sit with uncertainty early. You learned how to regulate alone. You learned how to wait without comfort. So when someone goes quiet, you don't spiral. You brace. You detach emotionally. You prepare for loss. You reduce expectation. Not because you don't care, but because caring without reassurance once hurt too much. Number 4, hyper-independence is not confidence. People mistake hyper-independence for strength, but hyper-independence is not confidence. It's a defensive adaptation. It says, if I don't rely on you, you can't disappoint me. If I don't ask, I can't be rejected. If I don't need, I stay in control. So you become low maintenance, emotionally contained, self-sufficient. You pride yourself on handling things. But what's really happening is that your nervous system learned that closeness requires self-erasure. So you keep your needs quiet, your doubts private, your fears internal. Number 5, why you feel uncomfortable being reassured. Here's something people rarely admit. When someone does offer reassurance, it doesn't always feel comforting.
Sometimes it feels awkward, unnecessary, uncomfortable, because reassurance requires receiving, and receiving requires trust, and trust once felt unsafe. So even when reassurance is available, your system doesn't fully relax. It's not used to being held. Number 6, the identity split. People who don't need reassurance often struggle with identity confusion. They ask themselves, am I emotionally distant? Why don't I feel attached the way others do? Why do I pull back instead of reaching out? They assume something is wrong with them. But nothing is wrong. This isn't personality. This is patterned survival. Your nervous system learned attachment equals risk, distance equals safety. So you internalize distance as identity. Number 7, the loneliness no one sees. Here's the part no one talks about. People who don't need reassurance often feel lonely even in relationships because they don't ask, they don't signal need, they don't show uncertainty. So people assume you're fine, you don't need support, you've got it handled. But inside there's a quiet longing to be checked on, to be noticed, to be reassured without asking. Number 8, why you rarely chase. When connection feels unstable, you don't chase, you step back. You tell yourself, if they want me, they'll come. If they don't, I'll survive. This isn't detachment, it's preemptive grief. You grieve the loss before it happens, so it hurts less when it does. Number 9, control feels safer than comfort. Reassurance requires surrender. It requires trusting another nervous system. But control feels safer. So instead of reassurance, you rely on logic, self-talk, emotional restraint, independence. These keep you functional, but not always connected. Number 10, the cost of never asking. Not needing reassurance has a cost. You struggle to be vulnerable. You downplay your emotions. You minimize your needs. You become strong but unseen, tapeable but unsupported, independent but emotionally alone. The reframe that heals. Not needing reassurance doesn't mean you're healed. It means you adapted. It means you learned how to survive without consistent emotional safety. But healing isn't about becoming needy, and it's not about abandoning independence. Healing is learning that needing doesn't make you weak, asking doesn't make you burdensome, receiving doesn't make you dependent. You're allowed to rest in connection, not just endure without it. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never ask. They're the ones who survived alone and are now learning they don't have to anymore.
If you love new knowledge to improve your life, hit subscribe now.